Taking a stroll near Gwanghee Gate, one of the 8 old castle gates in Seoul, Korea, is Hwang Young-soo, who greets his 90th spring this year. He belongs to the 3rd generation of the Hwang family, which has been making traditional Korean shoes. Though he has scarcely enough energy for work, Old Man Hwang is slowly making a pair of traditional shoes to give as a wedding gift to his grandson, his only hope of someone to inherit the work of traditional shoemaking. His grandson, Hae-bong, an office worker, visits him often after office hours, trying to understand his work, but not exactly wishing to inherit it. Hwang proudly recalls the 1930s when he supervised 10 shoemakers who had made shoes for royalty. But soon after, all but himself gave up the work as modern civilization began to introduce leather and rubber shoes. On weekends and holidays, his grandson comes to his shop and helps him out with some of the chores of shoemaking. His grandson's fiancée tries the shoes he has made. In the old days, the girl is filled with joy as she may be the person to wear the last pair made by Hwang. One of his wishes has been realized as his granddaughter-in-law wears the shoes he made. But would the young couple inherit his work and continue to make shoes? Hwang is happy because the young couple have chosen traditional robe, dress, and the shoes he made on their wedding day, rather than white wedding dress and Western-style shoes. During his honeymoon, the grandson Hae-bong finds himself consumed by the thought that a stream of a traditional handicraft was about to cease. With his wife, he now visits a museum to see a display of traditional handmade shoes, the works of his own ancestors. In the shoes, he discovers once again the wisdom and elegant taste of his grandfathers. There were many kinds of shoes in the old days in Korea, in accordance with the owner's social standing, sex, and with the material used and weather. The more he looks at the shoes, the more he comes to feel that somehow he must find a way to inherit the art of shoemaking. Mr. Hwang Hae-bong finally makes up his mind. The day he resigns from his position, reaction of his family members are varied. However, the happiest is Old Man Hwang. Offering food and drink to his ancestors, the old man reports it was Old Man Hwang's grandfather who started shoemaking. His grandson now becomes the 5th generation to continue the family trade. The old man now says he can await death with satisfaction and peace. The old man passes to his grandson what he inherited from his ancestors and a new set of over 30 kinds of tools. He has found the right owner for the treasured items. The grandson decides as his first test project to make a pair of men's silk shoes using the bits and pieces of knowledge he has on shoemaking. Patterns for arches or the walls on both sides of a shoe are made. First, hemp rainwater. Now the softened cloth is spread on a board and arch patterns are cut out. Decorative silk patterns are pasted along the collar and on the surfaces of the arches. Paste used for the whole process is mashed cooked rice. Now 2 arches are connected together. After each step, the materials are wrapped in a piece of wet cloth and kept in a jar till they are taken out to proceed with the next step. This prevents the materials from hardening before the shoes are completed. Now cotton cloth is sewn to the interior surfaces of the arches. Thread is made by twisting several strands of silk thread and applying beeswax to it. The next step is sewing the sole made of cowhide to the arches. In sewing, sharpened neck hair of a wild boar is used instead of ordinary needles. Grandson He Bong realizes that his work lacks gracefulness and charm. He wants to make refined as well as practical shoes. He needs to study and to have regular training. He knows that the owners of such shoes seek traditional beauty in them.
이금의 보이도 싶고, 재상 마라님도 싶고.
색깔은 무슨 색깔이 많았어요?
이 다우색도 많고, 또 각색이지 뭐.
He learns each step in detail from his grandfather.
이게 다우색, 이게 다우색.
청목댕이어가 그건 무슨 뭘로 된 거예요?
청목대
The old man is excited and willing to spend the whole day teaching. Grandson follows each step closely. He wants his work to turn out identically to his grandfather's. He even follows his movements while working. Suppressing his hasty mind, how much time would he have for learning? After all, his grandfather is 90 years old. Now begins the work of adding grace and charm to the product. Shoe trees are stuck into the shoes. Wedges are put into them. Then again, smaller wedges are used to shape the shoes in the proper form. Old Man Huang puts all his efforts into this process, which forms and completes the shoes. His grandson watches him putting his soul into the work. Next, drying proceeds over a charcoal fire. A long piece of wedge acts as a convenient handle. It is a delicate work of drying and airing combined. After taking out the shoe tree and wedges, sticky paste or glue mixed with talc powder is applied to the place where the sole and the arches meet. A pair of men's silk shoes is born. This might become the last pair of shoes made by Old Man Huang. Thus, Korea's old soul and wisdom are preserved in the field of shoemaking, thanks to the young man who chose a harder yet richer way of life.